in the 5th round. But everybody, not some, not a few, when everybody during this pre-draft process said he is one of the best quarterbacks in this draft, and 4 other quarterbacks go before him, something is wrong.
The NFL just got absolutely fleeced, and they don't even know it yet. While everyone's debating quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders, the guy who was supposed to go top 5, somehow fell to the 5th round and landed in Cleveland. But here's the kicker that's got the entire Browns media in complete meltdown mode. This 5th round pick is out here completing passes at a 70% rate, looking like the most NFL-ready quarterback in the entire draft class, and making everyone else in that quarterback room look like they're playing in slow motion. The same dude who was predicted to be the 1st or 2nd quarterback off the board is now sitting there as the 4th string, while reporters like Tony Grossi are literally scrambling to find excuses for why his numbers don't matter. Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind and prove why the Browns just pulled off the heist of the century without even realizing it. So check this out. I'm scrolling through Cleveland sports media yesterday, and these dudes are lost. Like completely, utterly confused about what they're witnessing in training camp. And honestly, I can't blame them, because what Shedeur Sanders is doing right now is breaking every narrative they've built up in their heads. You want to know how bad it's gotten? Tony Grossi, yeah, that Tony Grossi, is out here doing damage control interviews, trying to convince people that Shedeur's incredible numbers don't actually mean anything. This man is literally on camera saying, "Don't get carried away with those numbers," when talking about a 70% completion rate. But here's what Tony won't tell you. Even when they were just throwing on air, meaning no defense, no pressure, just basic drills, Shedeur was still completing more passes than Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. Think about that for a second. In the most basic quarterback exercise possible, where everyone should theoretically look good, one guy is standing out above everyone else. And that guy is supposedly your 4th string quarterback? Come on, man. That's not how football works. Now, before we dive deeper into this madness, let me paint you a picture of just how wild this situation really is. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise that hasn't had consistent quarterback play in over 2 decades, somehow managed to draft the most accurate quarterback in college football in the 5th round. Not the 1st round, not the 2nd, the 5th, and now their own media doesn't know what to do with that information. See, here's where it gets interesting. During the pre-draft process, everybody, and I mean everybody, had Shedeur Sanders ranked as one of the top 2 quarterbacks in this entire draft class. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. That was your top tier. That was your take your pick scenario. Draft analysts were calling him the most NFL-ready quarterback coming out of college. They said he had the best accuracy. They praised his ability to read defenses. This wasn't some hidden secret or sleeper pick analysis. This was mainstream, consensus opinion. So what happened? 4 other quarterbacks got drafted before him. 4. And now the same media that's supposed to be covering this team professionally is acting like they can't figure out why a 5th round pick is outperforming everyone else in the quarterback room.
Throwing on air, that's the problem with Tony Grossi. Yes, they were throwing on air, but on air, he was still better than everybody else. On air, against nothing, with t-shirts and panties on, he was better than everybody else. If we're throwing on air, why is his numbers better than theirs? You say it's the terminology.
But wait, it gets even better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Tony Grossi is out here doing interviews where people are literally asking him point blank, "Why do you always mention Dylan Gabriel whenever you talk about Shedeur's success? Why can't Shedeur's accomplishments stand on their own?" And you know what this man says? He starts talking about how Dylan Gabriel is overlooked because of the massive shadow that Shedeur casts. Then he hits them with this gem. There's another quarterback that the Browns rated higher than him, so be prepared if you see that guy play before Shedeur. Bro, what? You just admitted that Shedeur casts a massive shadow over other players, but somehow you're still trying to convince people he shouldn't be getting the attention he's getting? That's like saying the sun is bright, but arguing we should focus on the flashlight instead. And here's the real kicker. When pressed about whether Shedeur is blowing everyone out of the water in camp, Tony literally says, "Can we wait till the pass rush and shoulder pads get on?" It is touch football right now. Touch football. Touch football. My guy, even in touch football, there's still only one football and one target to throw to. If Shedeur is completing 70% of his passes while everyone else is struggling to hit 60%, that tells you something about accuracy, decision-making, and football IQ. Those things don't disappear when you add shoulder pads. Now, let me tell you why this situation is even more ridiculous than it appears on the surface. The Cleveland Browns, in their infinite wisdom, decided to draft 2 quarterbacks in the same draft. They took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, then traded up to get Shedeur in the 5th round. That means they spent 3 draft picks total on Shedeur because of the trade up, plus another pick on Gabriel. 4 picks. 4 entire draft selections on quarterbacks, and now they're acting like they don't know what they have. Here's what really happened, and this is where the Browns front office completely lost the plot. They got caught up in overthinking instead of trusting what their eyes were telling them. They had a chance to draft a quarterback who had been putting up elite numbers with inferior talent around him for 4 years. Let me break this down for you, because this is important. Shedeur Sanders played behind offensive lines that couldn't protect him. He had receivers who weren't NFL caliber. He dealt with subpar running games. And despite all of that, despite having less talent around him than almost any other top quarterback prospect, he was still the most accurate passer in college football. Think about what that means. When you give a quarterback better protection, better receivers, and a better supporting cast, what do you think happens to his numbers? They go up, not down. But here's where the Cleveland media is really showing their bias. And this is what's got me heated. They keep talking about how Shedeur drifted in the pocket and couldn't escape pressure in college. But they conveniently leave out the fact that he was the most sacked quarterback in college football because his offensive line was trashed out. Of course, he drifted in the pocket. He was getting hit constantly. But even with all that pressure, even with defenders in his face on every other play, he still maintained elite accuracy numbers. That's not a weakness. That's a superhuman strength. Most quarterbacks see their completion percentage drop when they're under constant pressure. Shedeur's accuracy barely budged. That tells you he has ice in his veins and can perform under the worst possible circumstances. Now you put him behind an NFL offensive line, even a mediocre one, and give him NFL caliber receivers, and you think his performance is going to get worse? Come on, man. Use some common sense. And here's another thing that's driving me crazy about this whole situation. The Browns have Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, right? And Stefanski runs a specific offensive system. Guess who has experience running that? Exact same system? Shedeur Sanders. Guess who doesn't have much experience in that system? Kenny Pickett, who spent his entire career in a completely different offensive scheme at Pittsburgh, and Joe Flacco, who's been bouncing around different systems for years. Oh, you're telling me that the quarterback who already knows your system, who's already proven he can execute it at a high level, who has the best accuracy numbers in the room, and who was rated as one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the entire draft. That guy is somehow your 4th option. Make it make sense. Now, I want to address something that the Cleveland media keeps bringing up because it's driving me absolutely insane. They keep saying Shedeur doesn't know the terminology. They claim he can't call out the plays. They argue that he doesn't understand the playbook. This is straight up nonsense. And here's WHY.in modern NFL offenses. The plays are called by the offensive coordinator through the headset. The quarterback's job is to relay that information to the team and execute. If there's confusion about terminology, you know what teams do? They put a wristband on the quarterback's arm with the plays written out. This isn't rocket science. This is basic NFL operations. But more importantly, and this is the part that completely destroys their argument, if Shedeur doesn't know the plays, how is he completing more passes than everyone else? Is he just randomly throwing the ball and getting lucky? Is he using a different playbook than everyone else? The numbers don't lie. In every measurable category, completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, Decision-making under pressure. Shedeur is outperforming veterans who supposedly know the system better. So either the veterans are really bad at executing plays they should know, or Shedeur is really good at learning and executing plays quickly. Which explanation makes more sense to you? Here's what's really happening in Cleveland. And this is the part that should have Browns fans both excited and terrified. The organization has been so traumatized by decades of bad quarterback play that they don't recognize elite talent when it's sitting right in front of them. They're scared to get their hopes up. They're scared to commit to a young quarterback because they've been burned so many times before. But here's the thing. All those previous quarterbacks were actually bad. Tim Couch, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield in their system. These weren't hidden gems who just needed the right opportunity. These were flawed players who had legitimate weaknesses that showed up under pressure. Shedeur Sanders is different. He's already proven he can perform with less talent around him. He's already shown he can maintain accuracy under constant pressure. He's already demonstrated the ability to make everyone around him better. The Browns have spent the last 25 years looking for their franchise quarterback. And now that they accidentally stumbled into one, they're too scared to admit what they have. Let me tell you what's going to happen, and you can bookmark this prediction. Shedeur Sanders is going to get his opportunity, probably sooner than the organization wants. And when he does, he's going to make everyone in that building look foolish for not recognizing what they had from day one. That the media is going to act shocked. The front office is going to take credit for developing him. And fans are going to wonder why they wasted so much time with inferior quarterbacks. But here's the beautiful irony in all of this. While other teams reached for quarterbacks in the first and second rounds, while they overdraft players based on potential rather than production, Cleveland accidentally got the best quarterback in the draft in the 5th round. That's not good scouting. That's not some brilliant front office move. That's pure, dumb luck. But luck counts in this league, and Browns fans should be celebrating the fact that their team got incredibly lucky for once. Instead of listening to media members try to talk them out of being excited about their most promising quarterback prospect in decades. The funniest part about this entire situation? Tony Grossi literally admitted on camera that Shedeur has incredible fan support and that he's the most popular guy on the team. So let me get this straight. The 4th-string quarterback has more fan support than your starters. He's outperforming everyone in practice. He was rated as a top 5 draft pick by most analysts, and he's already familiar with your offensive system, but we're supposed to be patient and wait for the real quarterbacks to show what they can do. Nah, man, that's not how this works. When you have lightning in a bottle, you don't put it on the shelf and hope it stays fresh. You use it. The Browns have their franchise quarterback. They just don't know it yet. Look, I'm going to keep it real with you. The Cleveland Browns just pulled off the draft steal of the decade, and their own media is too stubborn to admit it. While other teams are panicking about their quarterback situations, Cleveland has the most accurate passer from college football sitting in their building, learning their system, and outperforming everyone else. Shedeur Sanders isn't just going to be good, he's going to be special. And when he finally gets his shot, everyone who doubted him is going to look foolish. The question isn't whether Shedeur will succeed. The question is how long Cleveland is going to wait before they stop fighting what's obvious and give their fans the quarterback they've been waiting 25 years to see. What do you think? Are the Browns crazy for not starting Shedeur right now? Or should they stick with their veterans? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe because we're going to be covering every step of Shedeur's journey to becoming Cleveland's franchise quarterback. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that notification bell, smash the like button, and let's keep this conversation going.